Hey guys, it's Maymay and it is time to review this product. I have been promising a review and so I thought we would get started. Now I saved the packaging so I could show you guys what it looks like in the package, so if there's any confusion you'll know what to look for in the store. And I have been using it since Thanksgiving of 2013. It is now New Year's Day. So I've been using it for a while and I want to, I didn't want to do a review until I knew, because I felt like I owed it to Fiskars because my last review was not so favorable, and I'll link that below if you want to see it. Okay, this is the Fiskars Scrapbooking Rotary Paper Trimmer. It is deluxe portable design with a swing out arm. Now, this one I don't see having a specific name anywhere, but it does have a product number here. And it is 199080-1004 on Fiskars.com. So if you want to, I can put that in the description bar. You can pause the video or what have you, but there's that. Now, this is a rotary cutter. In the past, I have used just blades, and I was really glad to get the rotary cutter. Now, I bought this at Joann's on Black Friday, and I think they were 60% off then. And I'm going to take it out of the box. There we go. Now, there are pros and cons, and we're just going to get started. A couple things I really, really like. The first thing is these feet. They are rubberized feet, and they really grip really well, and it also has these ones in the center so that you have a lot of grip on your table and it doesn't slide around, which is good because when it's a rotary trimmer, you have to put a little more pressure than you do, on your typical little blade trimmer. So I'm glad that it has good feet and it sits still. Now, it's not sitting still right now because it's hanging off of my mat, but normally when I use it, it sits good and still. The other thing I like about it is this blade carriage here. What is cool is the carriage opens by itself, which I like, and then the clear paper guard opens by itself. The reason I like that is because when I'm lining something up, it's best to use the paper guard to line it up and then put the blade down, and then you know you're where you need to be. This blade will lock into place. Not the blade itself. This piece locks into place so that you can take it where you want to take it, and it doesn't open that carriage. So I'm going to leave the carriage unlocked. This does not actually lock, which I do wish that this would lock. I think it just kind of is free form there. But one thing it does do is you can take this little dude, pull it back and lift it open, and this is how you access your blade to change it. I'm not going to mess with it right now, but it will just come right out and you just put it right back in to change it, and then this guy just shuts closed and latches into place. Now, the other thing that is really interesting, the blade does not cut. The blade is not cutting unless you press. So you do have to press it to get the blade to go past the edge of the carriage for it to cut. So I'm okay with that. Like right here, I can't cut my finger because it's not out there, but once I press, it's there. Okay? So you do have to press down to cut. Some cons, we'll talk about those a little bit. Number one, this is a 12-inch paper cutter, meaning it has lips on either end here, and there's 12 inches, and that's all that's going to fit in there. Anything over that kind of hangs over. Really not a problem for scrapbookers, and Fiskars says right up front, hey, this is a scrapbooking cutter. I mean, it says it on the package, so you know 12 inches is going to fit in there, and that's it. It does have a swing out arm, which it calls self-leveling, and I don't know what self-leveling means unless it just has, I don't know. I tried to figure out what it meant by self-leveling, and I didn't understand, so it does call it that, though. This arm takes it out to 12 and about a ½ inches, but it does stop really at 12. Now, here's the bad part for us. For scrapbookers who are doing layouts, this is probably not as big of an issue, but those of us who do a lot of cards, this is a problem for me. Okay, you and I know that a card that we typically make is an A2 size. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Okay, 4 1/4 lands right at the edge without the swing out arm, and 5 1/2 is really bad. 5 1/2 is this line where the swing out arm just comes out. Okay, so this is not like the other trimmer that I showed you where you had about 6 1/4 inches, and I really liked that. This one, the swing out is in a really rough spot, especially when you're measuring, because you only have, like, if I wanted to go between 5 and 5 1/2, I'm pretty much messed up. When I'm doing mats and things for it, and I have to cut the mat down to like 5 1/4, you just have to guess. There's nothing you can do there. There is no measurement, no way to measure. So I zoomed in here so you can see this, and you can see what I'm talking about. You have 5 inches. you have 6 inches. There's the 5.5 mark, but anything between 5 and 5.5 is pretty much out of the picture. And that's really a problem for us that are doing A2 size cards. So I wasn't real happy about that. You know, you just have to kind of get creative with knowing where 5 1/4 is. And sadly, this is even worse. This goes 5 to 5 1/8, and then it kind of just skips. I mean, I wish this even just went out to 5 1/4, but it doesn't. So you just have to kind of guess. Now, I was able to just kind of guess. I have done that, and I've been okay. My maps are not perfect, but they're close. So just remember that. When you're trying to do 5 1/4, anything between this section, you can forget it. There's no way to measure it. So now we're back out, and I want to keep talking about the cutter itself. There are several things about it I really do like. Let me get some paper, and we'll cut. Okay, this is a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper. I told you that the carriage itself opens by itself, and then the clear paper protector opens this way. Now, here's the interesting part. This trimmer, which it takes you a while to get used to this. You will get used to it, but it takes a minute to get used to it. It cuts along this clear edge on the far side of your clear housing here. So it cuts. It's not in the center of it, which it feels like it would be in the center of this hole, but it's not. It's on this edge. And that's good, because at least you have a way of knowing if you want to cut in a specific spot on the paper. If you're trying to cut a square out or something in a certain area, you know that when you shut this down, that's where your blade is going to be. Okay? Now I'm going to show you how I figured that out, because it took me a minute, like I said. The best way to figure it out is to cut a couple times, and it'll leave a mark, and you'll be able to see where it cuts. And when you lay this down, you're like, oh, that's where it cuts. So that's how I kind of figured that out. Okay, so we've talked about this little part. Another part I think is good, because for some reason paper sticks to this, like it has a static to it somehow. I'm not really sure about that, but I'll tell you this. Fiskars must have noticed it, because they created this little finger piece so you can get your finger in there to get the pieces out. So that comes in handy. Alright, the other thing that I really do like about this trimmer is that it has that same lip outside of the cutting blade as well. So when you're lining paper up here, instead of only being able to line it up in the middle and get pressure, you can also get some pressure on the edge. I have had trimmers in the past where there was nothing here and my paper would tend to angle. Well, I like that it stops at both places. So that's handy. Okay, let's do a cut. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's do a 4 by 5 1/4 cut, and I'm going to show you how difficult. So I'm going to lay this down. I like that it has this piece for you to put your fingers to hold your paper down. It's really convenient. It's actually, they call it like a clean spot or something like that, a non-smear surface. And the reason for that is, let's say you stamp this paper or you have some ink on your fingers. When you're holding the paper, you're not getting it on the paper, you're actually holding the clear part. And I like that. So it also gives you some really good stability. So holding here, I'm going to close the blade carriage, and you have to press down, okay? And you're going to have to get a feel for this, because some products you're going to have to press harder, some not so hard, so you got to get a feel for it. So you press down. Now with one pass, we want to see if that cut. And it did. That was one pass, and I pressed fairly decent. And this is just Recollections cardstock. Now, I have had cardstocks and I have had chipboard that I've had to run 2 or 3 times over. The cool thing is you can use multiple pieces of paper in here. Let me show you. We'll take this piece. Well, I wanted to show you that other cut. Let's do that. So when I try to find 5 1/4, it's just literally impossible. It's nowhere down here. So what I typically do with 5 1/4 is line it up where that little piece meets here, and it's kind of a point, and I use that, and I just try to be consistent by using that as my number. So there's a piece of paper, and you can see how that's kind of hairy right there. Alright, let's cut a couple of thicknesses. I'm going to lay this piece on top of this piece. I'm not really lining up, I'm just placing it inside, and I'll show you with one pass, and this will be interesting. With one pass, I was able to cut this piece no problem, and this piece underneath did not cut here, but it did cut at the bottom. So one pass, and it cut. Now let's do some more multiples and let you see that. If you're like me, if we can cut multiples at a time, we like it. So here's 2 pieces, and we'll put it on top of this one, and we'll cut through 3 and see how many passes it takes. And get everything up there. There's one pass. Let's see what we got. We got 1, 2, because I pressed a little harder. Not 3. I'm going to press harder. Now I'm going to press and see if I can get all 3 of them cut in one pass. Just to show you, look at there. a lot of times it's about the pressing. Now here's the thing though, I don't really like to press down too hard because I feel like I'm dulling the blade. That may just be me, but that's how I feel about it. So I try not to press too hard. Let's look at the blade end. It comes with this regular blade, okay? But if you look on the package, there are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blades, and there is a straight, a scoring straight, so you can get a scoring blade, perforated, decal, pinking, wave, scallop, and cut bar, which I don't really know what cut bar is. I don't know if that's, you guys might know. Tell us in the comments if you know what cut bar is. I don't know what that means, but it does. You can get those. It does not come with them. I think it said it comes with them. It doesn't. They are available. I have not purchased any of those. I only have this one. Now, to my personal thoughts on it. I really like it. I was telling somebody in the comment section that I would buy this again. I really, really, really think that I would go buy it if I had the same mechanism that came out to about 6 1/4. The rotary blade for me has been the best cutter, and I've used a lot, and I'm going to tell you why. This metal bar does not allow it to wiggle. If you had any of those other cutters that have just this plastic piece that holds your cutting, whatever your cutting device is, be it blade or whatever, and this holds it, this plastic is unreliable and it makes that blade wiggle and gives you a crooked cut. This bar is not unreliable. It is going to cut straight. I've even seen them where they have the 2 bars and the blade runs between it. I just think those are the way to go. I don't think I'll ever go back to a regular trimmer. I'm going to make sure I have this bar. Now the packaging says that it is titanium. I'm assuming they mean the blade, but they could mean this bar is titanium so it lasts a good long time. It does come with Fiskars regular warranty. I'm not happy with how the blade cuts into this, but just like with anything, if you're cutting, the blade has to go somewhere, and it does have a blade cut line. Lots of measuring space here. You can really, you can see where you're at really well. You can line things up really well. And this is what they call permanent grid, meaning it's not printed on the top. Like I can't feel it or scratch it off. It's actually inside there. So I do like that. That grid's going to last, a really long time. Those are my thoughts on it. Like I said, I would buy it again. I think it's a good purchase. I'm 100 times happier with this one than I was my last one, which is this one. This one and me, not friends. I will tell you. Let's put these side by side. This one goes out to 6 1/4, which I adore. I rarely have to open this arm. However, this is that plastic housing, and you can see when I use it, you can see this is so unstable. That's why if you have this trimmer, that's why you're not getting straight cuts. And if you read reviews on it, everybody says the same thing about it. The cuts are not straight, and that's why. This one, I read reviews. The reviews were more positive than negative. Of course, there were some negatives, and some of those were mostly about Fiskars and not really so much this particular product. The reviews I read, I found the most of were on Amazon because I think a lot of people shop on Amazon. Again, honest opinion, if you're looking for a not beginner level, like if I were a beginner and I could afford this, I'd be real happy with that. I would think this is a great trimmer and I would not know the difference. But a lot of times as a beginner, we start out with those less expensive trimmers. And I understand my first trimmer was a Cricut trimmer that was green and purple, and it was like $9 at Walmart, and I used the heck out of that thing. But then as I got going and was doing a lot more crafting, not so much skill level, but volume. That's what this is for. You're going to get more volume out of this before you have to replace blades and things like that, and you do get a more precise cut. So if you can afford something like this, watch for sales, watch for coupons, and grab this. I think it's a good trimmer. I don't think you'll be sad with it. There are the things here that is a problem, the measurement, but honestly that's probably my biggest gripe is the measurement. Everything else is good. So again, Fiskars has a good product. We like Fiskars. I'm very happy with them. I'm glad I could be more positive about this trimmer than I was my previous trimmer. And I did purchase this with my own money. This is not sponsored by Fiskars in any way. I just wanted to share this with you guys. Let me know what you think. If you have this trimmer, tell me what you think about it, and maybe there's something I'm not using correctly. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So let me know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.